In today's video, we're going to be working with something completely different. Today, we're going to start actually crafting because this channel is called Neko Prints, T-shirt and crafting, right? So let's start some crafting. So let's go ahead and start with a few different projects. And in today's video, we're going to be doing something a bit different. Today, we're actually going to be laser engraving a skateboard deck. Now, I used to skate when I was little. I've always thought it would be really cool to be able to design my own decks. And unfortunately, to actually be able to print one, it's a bit of a mission because first off, you need UV printing. Second off, you need some special kind of paper. I can't remember which one. And three, you need an actual skateboard press. So I tried that at one point. It was a complete fail, but I do have a laser engraver. I have an XTool D1 Pro that XTool was kind enough to send me over a few months ago, and I've been using it non-stop. I absolutely love it, which if you want to check out the XTool D1 Pro, just check out the description down below. The link is going to be on there. Quick note, that is an affiliate link, so if you click it and make a purchase, I will get a small commission. Now, to make things even better, they also hooked it up with the extension rails. So now I can actually engrave the entire thing. Prior to having those extension rails, I was doing this before, but I was limited to, I think about like that big. It was about 14 inches, but now we're able to engrave pretty much the size of the entire thing. Now, there's going to be a few limitations that we need to be aware of. For one, if you look at this, of course, this side is going to be a lot lower than, let's say, the middle. So when the laser is up here, it's going to be at a higher point than it is over here. What this means is that, unfortunately, the laser eventually is going to start to get a bit out of focus, and it's not going to fully engrave. Now, I'm going into this knowing this because it's happened before. So pretty much from here to about all the way to the end, about the same spot, it's going to work pretty well. It's going to engrave the way it's supposed to. But then as it starts going down to the bottom of the tail or the nose, it's actually going to start fading off a little bit. And you're going to see what I mean. Now, unfortunately, this is a limitation of the type of laser that I have, but it does add for a pretty cool effect. It is a 10-watt diode laser, and it doesn't have the autofocus feature. Now, if it did have the autofocus feature, then I believe it would be able to automatically focus into the lower parts and be able to automatically adjust the power or whatever it needs to do. But unfortunately, that's not the case. So we're going to work with what we've got. And let me tell you that the end result, it's really cool. So let's go ahead and get started. So first things first, what we're going to need to do is make our design. Now, to make this design, what we're going to use is Kittl. Now, this type of software usually works best with vectors or SVGs. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to use Kittl to create a SVG file so that way we can have the best possible quality. Now, that's not to say that it's not going to work with PNGs or, let's say, JPEGs. It would work. But for best quality, always stick to SVGs or vectors. We're going to run over to Kittl, and we're going to go to Tools and AI Vector Generator. Now for this, I'm going to make it a pretty long image. All right, my DPI is going to be at 300, so let's go ahead and create. Now we have a pretty long canvas here. I'm excited for this. This is going to be cool. And let's just go ahead and create something. So I'm going to do the AI image generator. And what are we going to do? Let's think of something. So I'm a huge anime fan, as everybody knows. So I'm thinking of doing something kind of related to Dragon Ball. So let's do maybe a spiky haired kid riding on top of a dragon flying high in the sky surrounded by clouds. And then for the vector style, there's a few different ones to choose from. So the typical ones are going to be either vector art or vintage drawing, but I'm going to go with anime vector. And then also always remember to select your aspect ratio, even though sometimes or most of the time it still comes out at 1:1, but whatever. So let's generate. By the way, if you want to check out Kittl and you want to use it for yourself, you can go ahead and check out the link in the description down below and use code Neko Prints TT to get 25% off your subscription. All right, so you see what I'm saying? It still comes out at 1:1 like on a square, so it's fine. Let's go ahead and leave this here because I do like the fact that nothing is cut off. You can see everything. All right, so I just told it to generate clouds, and I'm just going to add a couple of these around here. I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste. It's not a big deal. Maybe even kind of stretch one out a little bit. All right, so I generated a few extra clouds and actually a couple of extra dragons here at the bottom. And I think this came out really cool. And I think this is going to look super dope. So now what I'm going to do is click up here where my artboard is. And I'm actually going to down the opacity all the way down to 0. So all I have is the black. And this is what's going to be burning. Now let's go ahead and download, switch the file type to SVG. FYI, to get SVG files, you are going to need the premium subscription. But remember, if you want to check that out, if you do want to check out Kittl, you can use my code Neko Prints TT for 25% off. So that helps out. So SVG, everything looks good. Width is 11, height 36, and then DPI of 300. All right, good to go. Let's go ahead and download. All right, so now that we have our artwork ready, typically I would use the XTool Creative Space, which is their own software for their laser engraving. But since I do have the extension rails installed, I'm not able to resize my workspace. Now, that's unfortunate because I really do like the software. I think it works very well, but unfortunately, that's not the case. So luckily, I did have before a laser prior to the XTool D1, and I purchased Lightburn, which is another software that's commonly used. It's actually one of the most popular softwares for laser engravers. Now on here, I am able to adjust my workspace. So I adjusted it to the size of the entire bed, and now we have our image imported. All I did was drag and drop. And I adjusted some of the different parts of it. So I made the clouds a little bit higher and I just kind of made everything straight. Now let's go ahead and fix our settings and let's start the burn. So for this, I'm just gonna go ahead and select everything. You don't really have to do that. But here under the cut layers, I'm gonna go ahead and set the mode to fill so that way it fills everything in. The power for this is gonna be at 100%, but the speed, it's gonna be pretty fast. So it's gonna be going at 6,000 millimeters per minute. Now, when it comes to the speed, a lot of the times you're gonna see either millimeters per minute or millimeters per second. This is something that you're gonna have to kind of learn to work with and adjust based on your settings. Now, this right here, these numbers, I actually got them from the creative space on XTool. So if you simply just go to the material, click on, let's say, the pine wood, and go to object, I have to put something in there first. And then under the process type, you choose engrave. So for this, you can see down here that it tells you the settings for it. So for this one, it's suggesting 40% with a speed of 100 millimeters per second. I think the one that I had done was a darker one, this one, I believe, which increased it to 80% and the speed of 80 millimeters per second. And then of course, you just have to go ahead and set the conversion. 80 millimeters per second for a minute, I think would be 8,000. 80 times 60, 4,800. I'm so bad at math.
21? You stupid.
It would be 4,800. But these were settings that I had used previously, so this is what I went with: 100% power and 6,000 millimeters per minute. Now, to make sure that the laser is aligned with the skateboard deck, what I'm going to do is simply click on the frame button. Once I click on that, it's going to go ahead and show me on the laser where or what area it's going to be engraving in. Now, once that's ready to go, all I have to do is simply click on start and start the burn. All right, so you ready for this? This is actually, this came out really cool. And surprisingly, I messed up. Well, not surprisingly, I messed up, but I messed up. And that mess up actually came out pretty good. So check this out. So here we can see that right at the bottom, it did start to engrave it right around here. And then under that, it's kind of starting to just lightly burn off the top coat. So it's not actually making a burn. It's just simply starting to kind of scratch the surface. And then down here, there's nothing. But same thing goes for the rest. Now, tell me if you see the mess up. And then up here, you can also see that over here is where it actually starts to dig into the wood. And this is where, right here, this is where it starts to actually get burned. But check this out, right in the middle, you see that square? I accidentally left a square on the design in Lightburn. So this is a square, and as you can see, it pretty much just inverted everything inside because it started burning what's inside the square, which ultimately would invert whatever else was inside it. But take a good look at it. This is what it looks like. I think it is absolutely amazing. The details are just insane. Like, I absolutely love how this came out. Even though I messed up right there, it still came out fantastic. So remember, if you want to check out the XTool D1 for all of your laser engraving needs, go ahead and check out the description down below. There's going to be a link to it down there. As again, that is my affiliate link. So if you click on it and make a purchase, I will get a small commission. With that being said, I would highly appreciate if you do use that link because it really helps me out and it helps out the channel. Also, let me know if there's anything you want me to try out next, if there's anything you want me to engrave next or cut, or if there's any topics that you want me to cover. Everything is appreciated. I'd love to hear your input. Drop it down in the comments below. So if you enjoyed this video, please make sure you smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, and ring that little bell notification so you don't miss out on any future videos. As always, I wish you all nothing but the best in your crafting and your t-shirt businesses. Huge thank you once again to everyone for watching. My name is Mario with Neko Prints, and I'll catch you all next time. Peace.